You know, I'm still not getting it. I don't get why people are calling this weapon the Dragon's Fury. The Dragon's Fury. This has easily been one of the most hated weapons for Pyro lately. Of course, completely undeserved, as people unsurprisingly refuse to adapt to new things and instead shrug and complain. Nevertheless, the nicely dubbed Blue Moon update introduced two small yet very significant tweaks to the Dragon's Fury that have upped its skill index by a sizable margin. To give a quick overview for any newcomers, the Dragon's Fury is a semi-auto fireball cannon that gains increased damage and fire rate on consecutive shots. Initial shots deal anywhere between 23 and 30 damage with an attack interval of 0.8 seconds. On a consecutive shot, this interval is halved to 0.4 seconds and damage is tripled to a range of 69 to 90. The weapon's primary downside is its decreased air blast interval, a whopping 1.6 seconds. Any air blast will reset your bonus and you will remain unable to attack while the barrel is repressurizing. This is also shared between your primary and alt fire, which leaves frequent reflecting a much more difficult endeavour. As an interesting tidbit, the weapon also creates a dynamic light when fired that follows the fireball. This is reportedly the case of some players' alleged frame drops when fighting or using this weapon. For the most part, this weapon initially received awful reception, being called overpowered all across the casual scene despite not nearly deserving it because it's so easily countered. Soldiers and demos, both of who already have an easy time against Pyro due to class dynamics, are given an even greater advantage, as Pyros cannot nearly as easily punish aggressive projectile classes, as well as the projectile form of fighting as opposed to WM1ing makes this weapon far less effective in big engagements. All in all, you sacrifice a great deal of support for a more DPS oriented playstyle. The tweaks made to the weapon include a 25% decrease to the size of the projectile, and the requirement to connect the centre of your fireball with your opponent's hitbox to deal the bonus damage. On paper, this does not sound massively significant, yet further inspection shows the subtle yet massive difference. No longer can you brush an enemy with the side of your fireball for max damage. You have to connect your projectile dead centre, meaning a good deal of leading is now a hardline requirement to make use of this thing, further dividing the good users from the bad. If you could aim with this weapon before the change, you'll probably not see much difference. If not, well, you probably will. Finally, as for whether the weapon remains balanced, overpowered or whatnot, it remains pretty obvious that it is very well balanced, and much like the flamethrower tweaks, the tweaks to this thing have put it in a very lovely state of balance. Making efficient use of it against players of moderate skill will require an equal amount of practice, and it's certainly not a weapon for a beginner pyro who is used to spazzing about everywhere. Thankfully, that's also dead as dirt. That's all from me for now. This has been the cup of coffee you all know and love, and as always, I shall see you next time, my sexy compatriots. Bye!